You are Locked On Syracuse, your daily podcast on the Syracuse Orange. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Now let's talk about the fact that the Orange had a big lead in the second half, so before overtime, and completely blew it. Syracuse led by as much as 13 in the second half on multiple occasions. In fact, it was 69-56 Syracuse with 8:45 to go, and everything seemed to be going according to plan. I mean, the Orange, they were dominating the paint for the second straight game, just like they did against NC State on Wednesday, and they ended up winning the paint battle 48-38. Eddie Lampkin and Jyare Davis were monsters inside. Jaquan Carlos was playing great. He finished with 9 assists in this one. Kyle Cuff made some big three-pointers for the Orange. He finished with 13 points off the bench. And then there were a few turning points in this one. The first one is kind of half joking, half serious, but really mostly joking, all right? Apparently a fan hit a half-court shot in the second half at Virginia Tech. Apparently, the broadcast showed it. And after the fan made said half-court shot, Virginia Tech goes on a monster run. Maybe that was the thing that turned the tide, right? I don't know, but that's more of a joke. But really, JJ Starling missing 3 free throws. Yeah, if you watch this game, you know what I'm talking about. Missing 3 consecutive free throws towards the end of regulation, I think, is what ultimately led to Virginia Tech going on a massive run and eventually winning this game. So let me set the scene for you once again. Virginia Tech pulls within 4 after being down 13 with 6:07 left in regulation. With 5:30 left in regulation, JJ Starling gets fouled on the left wing, shooting a three-pointer, and it was a complete bailout. It was a terrible foul by Virginia Tech because they were playing great defense. They were about to get a stop. They forced a tough one from JJ Starling, and yet a player just makes contact with him shooting a three-pointer. That's 3 free throws, and you're up 4 points with 5:30 left in regulation. And I'm thinking at that point, yeah, it's just Syracuse's day. It's just Syracuse's day. They're getting the calls. They're getting the bounces. That's huge. JJ Starling going to the line for 3 free throws. And then he misses all of them. He misses all of them. Just not good. Now, Starling, he redeemed himself later in regulation. He had an and one, and he made the free throw, and he also made a couple of free throws as well in a 1-and-1 situation. But that sequence of missing 3 consecutive free throws, Virginia Tech already had the momentum. It looked like they were about to lose it because of that bad foul, but instead they gained momentum because he missed the 3 free throws. Even if JJ Starling hits 2 of them, goes 2 for 3, that kind of quiets the crowd. It just does. It quiets the crowd. Virginia Tech has players. They don't feel maybe as energized. There's no real way to quantify it in terms of momentum and feeling. But I can tell you how I felt when JJ Starling missed those 3. I thought Syracuse was going to lose. I thought that was the moment that Syracuse basketball lost the game. He misses 3 consecutive free throws towards the end of regulation. It just can't happen. And here's another dumb play for you all. Another reason why Syracuse lost. Lucas Taylor did not have a good day at all. He was caught in foul trouble, and he just didn't do much. He really didn't. Lucas Taylor in this one played 12 minutes. He had 0 points, 1 rebound, 0 assists. He had a turnover, and he eventually fouled out. He was basically Tony Snell. He did not have a good day. With 3:51 left in regulation, Syracuse is up 72-70. So they're still in the lead after the JJ Starling missed free throws. But unfortunately for Syracuse, Jyare Davis is in the right post, and he turns the ball over. It just gets stolen from him. And Ben Hammond races down the floor for Virginia Tech. And Lucas Taylor commits one of the dumbest fouls that you are going to see in basketball. This is another one of those plays that I highly recommend you go back and watch when you're done watching or listening to this podcast. He just swipes at Hammond, and it's like nothing. He just swipes at him. It's a free and one for Hammond, and at least he missed the free throw, but it tied the game at 72 all. It's just another example of Syracuse not executing down the stretch, missing free throws, Lucas Taylor committing a really, really dumb foul. In that situation, you have two options. Option number one, you can let Hammond just make a layup. I don't really suggest that. That's not what you want to do. Give a free 2 points. But fine, that's better than an and one. The other thing that you could do, and this is what I would suggest, you bear hug him. Now, you got to be careful. You want to make sure it's not a flagrant foul, but just swiping at him, no contact whatsoever, you gave him a free and one. It was a terrible, terrible foul by Lucas Taylor. You cannot do that in that situation. And they were lucky that he missed the free throw, but ultimately it doesn't matter because Syracuse basketball still loses the game 101-95 in overtime.